Do you love breakdowns? Do you need stats? Do you crave insight? Download the AllStar app. UFC, Bellator, PFL 1 Championship, and more. Ad-free, fully customizable. Download the best app in the business. Link in descriptions.
Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman, UFC 286 in London. The trilogy fight, the first fight, Edwards won. The second fight, Usman had probably one of the greatest comeback victories of all time in the history of the sport. Man, but you got to look at it like this. That second fight was in Denver, I believe. It was at Elevation. So we got to really dissect that. Yeah, it was at that time, right? So I wonder if what Leon's going to look like without that elevation. Because Usman trains at elevation, right? So he's used to that. So we saw Usman at, I don't know if it at his best, but we saw him cruising, like in that second fight until he got knocked out. Edwards visibly looked like he was fatigued and he was pacing himself in that fight. And, I don't want to say it was luck, but sometimes luck is involved in fighting, right? And it's perfect shot, perfect placement, head kick, boom, dead. Third fight, I don't know what to expect. What do you expect, Chris, in this one?
Yeah, that's a good thought. I hadn't even really thought about how the elevation might play into that, especially also with Leon fighting at home, having the home crowd supporting him. He didn't really, obviously aside from the head kick, he didn't do a lot in that second fight that really gave me confidence to pick him in a third fight. Yeah, like I just said, like the head kick, he won the fight. But I have a feeling that like Kamaru Usman, he's going to come out with a little bit more urgency to take Leon out of there. Or he may even just try to play it safe and wrestle him the whole time. And I'm not really sure what to expect out of this fight. I think Usman's in a tough spot because he's going into the guy that just knocked him out, gave him a loss that's going to be hard to come back from. A lot of guys, they look good and then they have a big loss like this, like they got knocked out with a head kick and, everything came crashing down. How is his confidence going to be? Is he going to be the same fighter, especially when he's going across the pond, fighting someone in their own backyard? There's a lot of mental things that go into this fight that are playing against Kamaru Usman. So that's what I'm going to be most interested in this fight going into it is what are the mental games? How does Kamaru seem week of the fight? Does he seem confident? Does he seem reserved? Is he fired up? Is he going to be overconfident? We saw that with people like Joanna Jędrzejczyk. You could kind of tell something was a little bit off going into those rematches with Rose, that she was a little bit overconfident, or even like, Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm. So I think that's what I'm going to be looking for as this fight ramps up is Kamaru Usman's demeanor. Leon Edwards, he's got everything in his favor right now, and he's got a lot of confidence, and doesn't mean he's going to have to make some adjustments to his game plan, but he's got now like 2 fights and almost 8 rounds to look at to pick things apart. And this fight's been brewing for a while. As soon like even the night of that night back in August in Salt Lake City, like they were already basically declaring that this trilogy fight was going to happen. So he's had a lot of time to think about this. I want to pick Usman in this, but it's close to even for me. I'll say that.
They're fighting in London. I don't think that will have any bearing. Like elevation to me is a factor, but like a location, not so much. Especially with the UFC. The UFC is not going to have no shenanigans. No one's going to get poisoned. Like in other combat sports, people are getting poisoned if they fly to like Russia or something like that, or even in Thailand, man, there's people getting poisoned before fights. But Liam, does Edwards have a shot? Can he do what he did in the second fight, but just do it earlier, like in the first round?
As a matter of fact, I bet Leon Edwards against Kamaru Usman, so that was one of my favorite bets of all time. not only because he got the big head kick knockout and because I made a lot of coins. I was very happy about that fact. But moreover.
But how were you the first 4 rounds, though? How were you the first 4 rounds?
This is the thing. In the first round, people forget that Leon won. Yeah. And he took him down. He was the first man in UFC history to take down Kamaru Usman. And it wasn't like, got like a quick double leg and then Kamaru popped right back up to his feet. John Jones in DC, you think of, those kind of like ego takedowns. No, it was a takedown into the full mount where Kamaru had to really address the takedown. He kind of hit that. It's one of my favorite takedowns, a body lock, outside step right into the full mount. That's why it's so beautiful. You use a trip and it's feet to back. We call it in wrestling, 6-point move. And he advanced right to a dominant position, put Kamaru in danger, put Kamaru on the back foot. And I thought that forced a very conservative, wrestling heavy approach out of Kamaru. What had we seen from Kamaru in the fights prior? He had fallen in love with the hands. I want to be out here and strike. I feel confident as a striker. I'll go with anybody. I'll knock out Masvidal. But then he didn't want to stand with this guy and he got taken down. So he's like, now I'm in an ego fight. Now I have to wrestle. And I think he wrestled himself into a hole where then he's wrestling to just hold him against the fence. At the end of the fight, the referee says separate. They separate. Leon's got a chance to work from space. He's not really feeling so good. So he's got his hands, kind of mid-level. Again, you mentioned the fact it's at elevation. So a guy who's known for his selling point cardio has neutralized the guy to the point where he couldn't really use a lot of energy. And now he's used all his energy. He's standing there on E and he just got blasted in the face. And I thought that it was, the blessing and a curse to what Leon Edwards does. He's an extremely efficient fighter. That's why he doesn't get all that many finishes. That's why sometimes people label him as boring. He does a lot of really small, intricate details that make the fight work. He'll move you around in the clinch. He'll find these small little positions where he can take advantage. He'll get to a top half guard and stick around there and not work to get to an even more dominant position. He'll just want to hold from a good spot. So I think that this is a really challenging fight for Kamaru because, number one, he's got to make sure his wrestling's on point. His knees are a disaster. I predicted at the beginning of last year that Kamaru was going to lose the belt at some point. That's why I made the bet on Leon. Was I a little bit hesitant? Yes. Was I thinking Kamaru's time has to be up soon? Yeah. He's been in a ton of really difficult fights. He got buzzed by Gilbert Burns. It's not like he's getting out of all these fights completely unscathed. 5-round fight after 5-round fight after 5-round fight, that's going to take a ton out of you. And then on top of that, it's his second career in combat sports. How many former wrestlers have we seen done in by injuries early? I hate to say it's going to happen to me one day. It's like we put our bodies through this torment. It's a good skill set. It gives you a mental edge over some of your opponents, but then it breaks you down over time and you can't keep doing this forever. And I think that's one of the things that we saw from Kamaru. He wrestled himself into the ground. And I would be surprised to see a better physical performance. So we're going to have to see a better tactical performance. He's going to have to pace himself just a little bit better. He's going to have to keep the distance for various portions, and he's going to have to improve his defense because he was open to be hit by Colby Covington and Colby couldn't put him away. He was open to be hit by Gilbert Burns and he couldn't put him away. We know Leon Edwards can put him away, and he's hit other guys with that head kick before. It's not a fluke. So if Kamaru doesn't address his defense, get his hands up, he could get put away again. So I think that it's not to say, Leon wins this fight, obviously, but home field advantage, momentum, coming off of a big win, and you showed yourself, I could take this guy down and I could knock him out. That's a huge confidence booster for a guy that was coming in thinking I could get absolutely taken down and shut out in this fight. And instead, he finds success in the wrestling and in the striking. I think that's a huge confidence boost for Leon.
The first fight, it's so far back in the distance. I don't even remember what happened. I just know that Kamaru won the fight, right? But the second fight, it's still fresh, man. And I feel like it's still going to be fresh in Usman's head, psychologically. I'm not a fighter. I never went into the cage and was knocked out unconscious by an opponent. So I have no idea what you have to go through to recover from that. Not just physically, but mentally, right? To get back into the gym. But it seems like he handled it really well, right? I believe he, like a week or two after that, he was on Joe Rogan laughing about the situation and explaining like what happened after the knockout. So I don't think that Usman is going to be affected by the knockout at all. I feel like he is going to learn from it because he's a lifelong wrestler, man. These wrestlers, man, mentally, they're probably the strongest out there. You know, just wrestlers in general. It doesn't matter where you're from. It could be from the U.S. It could be from Russia, wherever. Just mentally, some of the strongest people out there. I feel like he's going to come back and win this fight. I think he's going to be smarter. I think Usman's going to be much, much smarter. I don't think he's going to like have like moments of like, you know, like brain farts in the fight. I don't think he's going to have brain farts in the fight in this one. I feel like he felt himself a little too much because of the previous fights that happened. And we do have to like point out, like Liam said, that he did get buzzed by Gilbert Burns. He did get who was that before that? Covington hit him a few times, right? It didn't look like it buzzed him, but it hit him clean, right? So it's not like he's unhittable. He can be hit, and Edwards showed that he can be knocked out clean. But I don't know. I put Usman as still one of the best pound for pound in the world, and I feel like he needed. I don't know if he needed it, right? But you know, a loss can help you get to that second level. And I feel like we'll see the second level of Usman in this fight. We only seen the first level, right? We've seen what he can do on a long winning streak, and he's just winning, and he's just getting the belt and getting the defenses and all that. But now we put a speed bump in front of him. I feel like mentally he's strong enough. He has the right people around him. He's gonna go to London. I think he's gonna have a different game plan against Leon Edwards, and he'll get the win. I don't know if he'll finish the fight or anything like that, but I feel like it's not gonna play out like the second fight. I don't think it's gonna happen. I like Usman heading into this third one, this trilogy.